The difference in the mood in Ukraine with the martial law and the current problems with Russia. Ooh, that's an ominous sounding term, isn't it? Martial law. Guys, you got to understand with language, whenever you say a word, it's loaded with all kinds of different meaning depending on your experience and what you attribute that to. So when someone says martial law, everyone in their mind thinks, oh, it's this, or it's that, or it's whatever. And yet that's such a vague term and such an interesting term, because how many of us really know what that really means to the average person who has to go to work every day, who has to put food on the table for their children and their children going to school? What does that really mean? And there's been a lot of people trying to capitalize on this and drive traffic to their sites by making a big deal out of it and all that. But you just got back from the Ukraine where, quote unquote, there is martial law in certain areas of the Ukraine. Did you notice much of a difference, Bud?
I'm still trying to figure out exactly what martial law is, because quite honestly, I saw nothing. And this whole thing unfolded while we were on the tour. You know, we heard about the blockade of the bridge in the Azov Sea, and then next thing you know, they're threatening martial law and then martial law. Absolutely nothing in the landscape changed the whole entire time we were there, except that I think in a few places there were a few more police officers just hanging out guarding stuff. But
so you felt a little safer, if
I suppose. I mean, police officers in Ukraine are pretty friendly in my experience. So, it's not like they harass people.
Did you have a curfew? Did you have to go in there?
No curfew.
Were there any restaurants closed?
No impact at all. Quite frankly, I think the whole thing is just a maneuver by the president of Ukraine to have a little bit more control over processes that would normally require some kind of parliament approval. You know, for example, they're saying the whole reason that he did this was so that he could push the election back a little bit because he's kind of sagging in the polls. So, you know, maybe something as simple as that. But quite honestly, I think it's really important for people to understand that I would absolutely not put myself in harm's way under any circumstances for any reason. I'm a father, I have a family. I wouldn't do that for any number of reasons. I wouldn't do that. I'm certainly not going to do that with our tour clients or our staff. And we wouldn't go to any place that we perceive to be the least bit dangerous. And I'm telling you, we'll have testimonial around this shortly, but if you were walking around in downtown Kiev, it's like walking around in Prague, it's like walking around in Barcelona, or I suppose central New York. I mean, it's just a beautiful city with all kinds of people out doing whatever they normally do, and you'd never know if you didn't watch the television that there was anything different about the environment in Ukraine. So,
and, you know, this conflict with Russia has been going on now for what, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it's been. It's been quite some time, and we've been doing our tours and doing our business as usual, with very little change, other than we decided, because it is really centered in the very eastern part of the Ukraine, in the Lugansk and Donetsk region. We stopped doing tours to those two areas just because it was just, you know, a little bit difficult to get in and out and all that. So we just stopped doing that. But, you know, the rest of the country, you would just never know that it ever happened. And even today, you would still never know that it ever happened. So, guys, you know, if you have any concerns or issues, call us. I'll be happy to talk with you. Call Bud. Keep that in mind. Sometimes the media just loves to play with those energized words that just evoke all this emotion, and when people really start looking, well, wait a minute, what does that really mean? And it's all of a sudden, oh, that's boring. That's just like just life as usual. So that's pretty much what this is, isn't it? Bud?
You know, this is a country that overthrew its president 4 years ago. They're not going to put up with a lot of crap from this guy, and quite frankly, we wouldn't go there if there was any issue at all.